The other day, I noticed a comment under one of my videos. Somebody left a comment. I had mentioned whole grains in the video. I think the video was talking about fiber or foods to nourish the microbiome, the intestinal microbiome. I mentioned whole grains as a source of fiber, and this led somebody to leave a comment in the comment section under one of my videos saying that fiber is garbage. It's not necessary. I'm sorry, whole grains. No, they've actually said fiber is garbage too, but that's I've already dealt with that. But in other words, they said that whole grains are garbage. So I wanted to do a video today, really talking about whole grains and whether they are needed, whether they help aid help you become healthy, how important are they in the diet, and so on and so forth. The first thing you should know about whole grains is that it's basically not a great source of protein. Some grains are a little bit higher in protein than others, but uh, whole grains can be considered a carbohydrate food. If you're not sensitive to carbohydrates, there's you can eat a pretty good amount of whole grains. But that being said, of all the possible foods in a diet, especially a bodybuilding diet, I would have to say that whole grains are the most expendable. They don't really give you a lot of nutrition. They are a source of fiber. But I wanted to talk about some studies that indicate that they can provide a couple of health benefits. Whole grains consist of three parts basically. Bran, this is the hard outer shell. The bran of whole grains, the bran part, is what contains the fiber, minerals, and nutrients like antioxidants. The endosperm is the middle layer, it's mostly carbs. And then you have the germ. You might have heard of wheat germ, which is a isolated part of grains that has vitamins, minerals, protein, and other plant compounds. Wheat germ is actually pretty good for you. In fact, one of the very first supplements that I ever took when I started working out, I think I was either 11, about 12 years old. I didn't know much about nutrition back then, but I had read somewhere that wheat germ was healthy. So the very first food supplement, if you want to call it that I ever took was wheat germ. I still remember. I think they still sell it. It was called Kretschmer's wheat germ, and it was came in a jar. I remember it was meant to be. You could either put it in milk and just eat it as a cereal, or you could sprinkle it other things. I use Kretschmer's wheat germ. I just used to put it in a bowl, add a little bit of milk, add a little bit of sweetener, and that was my very first, if you want to call it, supplement. So lately, wheat germ has come into more prominence because it's the main source of a supplement called spermidine, which is, I'm not going to get into in this video, but spermidine, there's a lot of health claims made about spermidine stimulating autophagy, which is related to increased longevity and blah, blah, blah. But I don't want to get into that. I don't want to go on a tangent, but basically you have two types of grains. You have the whole grain, which has the bran still left in, and that means it has fiber. And then you have refined grains. This is stuff like white bread. White bread is like eating toilet paper. It's garbage. It has nothing in it. It's a completely depleted food. All the nutrients have been taken out. They add, if you look at let's say a loaf of white bread, you'll see they've added a couple of B vitamins. A couple other vitamins have been added, but that's only to put something in there. It's just basically garbage. There's no, you should never eat refined grains. They have no nutritional value whatsoever. But grains can come in different forms: rolled grains, crushed grains, cracked grains. As long as they're in their original proportion, they're fine. Uh, the refined grains have had, as I said, the germ and the bran removed, leaving only the endosperm, which is this pure carbohydrate, has really no nutritional value other than carbohydrates. Uh, Examples of whole grains include oatmeal, popcorn, millet, quinoa. I know I pronounce this, but quinoa. It's hard to pronounce. Brown rice, whole rye. Now, whole rye is among the better sources of whole grains because whole rye, the intestinal microbiome is able to convert the grain that's found in whole rye into short chain fatty acids, especially one called butyrate, which has tremendous health benefits, including helping to prevent colon cancer. And in the brain, butyrate is thought to help to prevent the buildup of abnormally folded proteins that are related to the degenerative brain disease like Alzheimer's. So whole rye, if you can handle it, is actually a pretty good source of whole grains. Rice, brown rice. Rice is a whole grain. It's favored by bodybuilders. Bulgur, buckwheat, barley, sorghum. These are all whole grains. Certain types of pasta can be considered whole grain. Like I say, you have to differentiate. What are the nutrients of whole grains? Well, the first one, and by far the most important, is fiber. Whole grains are a pretty good source of fiber. If you're not eating fruits and vegetables, if you don't eat a lot of it, you could get fiber from whole grains. Most of the fiber in whole grains is what they call insoluble fiber, which helps you. It prevents constipation. Whole grains are a good source of insoluble fiber. Whole grains naturally contain some B vitamins, including niacin, B1, and folate. They contain some minerals, zinc, iron, magnesium, manganese. They contain some protein, but whole grains are not, as I said earlier, not a good source of protein. But they also contain a couple of problematic compounds if eaten in excess, such as phytic acid and ferulic acid. Phytic acid is sometimes classified as a anti-nutrient because it could lock on to certain minerals and prevent their absorption. I wrote about that in my Applied Metabolics, an article about anti-nutrients. You'd have to eat a lot of phytic acid, however, to cause problems. In fact, there's some studies indicating that phytic acid can provide health benefits, and they sell it as IP6. Some studies show it helps to prevent colon cancer. One of the more controversial compounds found in whole grains is lignans. There's a doctor whose name escapes me, probably because I think he's a quack. I won't read any of his crap that he puts out books. I think if I remember correctly, he's used to be a cardiovascular surgeon. This guy spouts such nonsense in his videos, but he has a big following. Of course, he sells his own line of supplements. That's why he makes the videos. But lignans he wrote a book claiming that lignans are very bad for you, and they mess up your intestinal, they kind of damage the intestinal cells, and they prevent the absorption of other nutrients. Nonsense. There's absolutely no evidence for that. Where he pulled that out of his ass, as the idiomatic statement says. Lignans in reality are polyphenic compounds. The biggest source of lignans in food is flax seeds. But they also exist in whole grains, beans, fruit, and vegetables. When they're consumed, the lignans, when they get into the intestinal microbiome, that's bacteria, yeast, other organisms that exist in the colon, the intestinal microbiome converts the lignans into other compounds like enterolignans, enterodiol, and enterolactone. Now, enterodiol and enterolactone have weak estrogenic activity, but not enough to cause estrogen-related problems. That's another myth, that lignans are highly estrogenic. Nonsense. They may or may not actually help prevent estrogen-related diseases such as certain types of cancer, especially in women, such as uterine cancer and breast cancer, which are often estrogen sensitive. There's not enough information on that to assert that. But the point being that, yes, lignans, by the way, lignans are also associated with a lowering of blood lipids and might help prevent cardiovascular disease. So the stuff about lignans being bad is nonsense. I would keep away from that. If you look at, oats, for example, are another grain, very popular bodybuilders. They eat oatmeal. 28 grams of or 1 ounce of oats, dry oats, contain 3 grams of fiber, 69% of the reference daily intake of manganese, 14% for thiamine, 12% of magnesium, and 7% of zinc and iron. Oats also contain a particular antioxidant. That's it's Avan something I've written about it, but I can't remember the name. It's a rather complex name. It's actually very good for you, so there's nothing wrong. There is some data indicating that consuming whole grains can lower your risk for a heart disease. A review of 10 studies found that 3 1-ounce servings of whole grains can reduce the risk of heart disease by 22%, likely because of the fiber content. Another 10-year study of 17,424 adults found that those who consume the highest amount of whole grains as part of their total carb intake had a 47% lower risk of heart disease, which is pretty impressive. Again, it's probably the fiber that's the active ingredient. Consuming whole grains also seems to lower your risk of stroke. An analysis of 6 studies that included 250,000 people found that those eating the greatest amount of whole grains showed a 14% lower risk of stroke compared to those who ate the least amount of whole grains. There's other substances in whole grains besides the fiber. Vitamin K and antioxidants can also reduce the risk of stroke. There's some evidence showing that eating whole grains can help you reduce the risk of gaining body fat or obesity because they fill you up. The fiber makes you feel full, so you won't overeat and take in excess calories. Whole grains, of course, are much more filling than refined grains. As I said, refined grains should be avoided at all costs. They're garbage. They're right up there with trans fat and other useless items that still appear in the human diet. Eating 3 servings of whole grains was linked to lower body mass index and less belly fat or visceral fat in a review of 15 studies of almost 120,000 people. So I wouldn't count on whole grains as a diet food. I mean, it is almost pure carbohydrate. But on the other hand, some studies show that consuming whole grains could reduce the risk of diabetes. A review of 16 studies showed that replacing refined grains with whole grains and eating at least 2 servings of whole grains could lower your risk of diabetes. Again, it's the fiber. The fiber will lower blood sugar levels and improve insulin sensitivity. The fiber, again, the insoluble fiber prevents constipation. Some types of fiber and grains can act as prebiotics, which support the health of the intestinal bacteria, which is very good. Other studies show that consuming a modest amount of whole grains can reduce chronic inflammation, which is very important. They can also, a review of 20 studies showed that 6 of the studies showed a reduced risk of cancer, while 14 other studies showed no relation between whole grains and cancer. The existing research shows that the whole grains show the most benefits against cancers, against colorectal cancer. Again, here we go. It's the fiber again. Some studies indicate that eating whole grains regularly leads to reduced risk of premature death. One study showed that for every 1 ounce serving of whole grains you consume, it's linked to a 5% lower risk of death from any cause. If you have any kind of celiac disease, which is a genetic disease where people can't absorb gluten, keep away from grains. Wheat, barley, and rye in particular contain high amounts of gluten. Some people claim to have a gluten insensitivity. In that case, you want to avoid gluten-free whole grains, you want to eat gluten-free whole grains, such as buckwheat, rice, oats, and amaranth. Those people who are, cannot tolerate gluten can eat those grains with no problem. And so I think really that's about it for whole grains. I just wanted to respond to that comment where the person said that they're garbage. I would not classify whole grains by any means as garbage. They are a pretty good source of fiber. They provide a couple of interesting nutrients. I just want to also mention a couple of other things. I talked about the diseases that it prevents, cancer, digestive health. Okay, already went into that. So basically, whole grains, mainly because of their fiber content, Some whole grains, most of them contain insoluble fiber. Again, there's two types of fiber, insoluble and soluble. The insoluble fiber basically helps prevent constipation, moves things along, so to speak, in your intestine. The soluble fiber has a number of other benefits. It's responsible for many of the health benefits of dietary fiber, including helping to prevent cardiovascular disease and other types of diseases. So whole grains can, depending on which whole grain you eat, can contain either insoluble fiber or, like in the case of oats, contain a good amount of soluble fiber. So again, whole grains are not garbage, but I will say that based on their nutritional content and considering that there are many other sources of fiber, especially fruits and vegetables, which provide much more nutrition than whole grains, I would say that of all the types of food you can eat, whole grains are the most expendable. I think that the real benefit of whole grains, I don't know if you ever went to a steakhouse or a restaurant where they bring out these whole grain rolls. If you eat enough of those whole grain rolls, and this has happened to me, you get so full that you wind up hardly finishing the regular meal. And because the grains themselves aren't that high in calories, you wind up consuming less calories than you might have consumed had you not consumed the whole grain rolls. So that's an advantage of whole grains. They are filling. They fill you up, and they might make you consume less calories from other foods, which will help you reduce body fat. But again, on most diets, weight loss diets, fat loss diets, I would say to delete whole grains. They don't give you enough nutrition to justify their inclusion in any type of calorie reduction or carbohydrate, especially carbohydrate reduction, or any type of weight loss diet. They're completely expendable. You can get your fiber from other sources, or even from fiber supplements like psyllium. So I'll end it there. If you want more information on nutrition, exercise science, anti-aging research you can use today, ergogenic AIDS hormone therapy, including testosterone replacement therapy, supplements, which supplements work, which ones don't, effective fat loss techniques, women's health and fitness. I cover more topics in my Applied Metabolics than any other digital publication on the internet. And Applied Metabolics has a feature that cannot be duplicated, which is my 6 decades or 60 years of constant study and experience. All of this is included in Applied Metabolics. It's written in magazine style. It's not written in a technical style. Anybody can understand it and benefit from it. That's the key word, benefit. You will benefit because all of the information in Applied Metabolics is practical and it's ready for you to use in your everyday life. The information contained in Applied Metabolics can actually prove life-saving. It can help you make faster gains. It can help you avoid many of the mistakes that are common today that people make because of reading poorly written material related to exercise or watching junky videos on YouTube. 98% of the videos on YouTube are related to exercise and nutrition are garbage. They're basically commercial videos that are put on YouTube to sell products, and their information is very often wrong. Even the information posted by so-called educated people with advanced degrees like PhDs and MDs, a lot of these guys are, to put it colloquially, full of shit. They're saying things that are completely wrong. Don't put them on a pedestal just because they have MDs and PhDs. Some of the worst videos I've seen as far as veracity, which means truth, and accurateness of information, some of the worst, most egregious videos I've seen recently have been posted by so-called health professionals, people with PhDs and MDs. I'm not going to name any names, but let me put it this way. If you subscribe to Applied Metabolics and you read the articles, you'll be able to easily identify these charlatans, these educated frauds. You'll be able to identify them within seconds because you'll have the background knowledge to separate truth from fiction. So subscribe today at www.appliedmetabolics.com. When you subscribe, send me an email. I'll send you an invitation to join my private Applied Metabolics Facebook page, where each day I post new information on nutrition, exercise science, and medical topics. Brand new information. I have an email portal on my Applied Metabolics webpage, which is exclusively for current subscribers only, who are welcome to send me short questions about anything they might have read in Applied Metabolics or anything that comes to mind concerning nutrition and exercise, and I'll be happy to answer those questions as a bonus for their subscription to Applied Metabolics. I don't accept unsolicited questions because I only have a limited amount of time, and I'm going to give that time to those who support my work as current subscribers. However, you're welcome to leave comments under my videos about suggesting future videos, topics to deal with. If you come up with a topic that I think will interest a large number of people, I'll be happy to do a video on it. Also, you're welcome to please subscribe to this channel. You'll see at the bottom there, right there, there's a little Applied Metabolics symbol. If you click on that, you'll see a button pop up that says subscribe. As soon as you hit that button, you'll subscribe to the channel. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. I post new videos every Tuesday. And also, if you like my videos, you think they're of value, please, by all means, let others know about it so I can get this channel to grow a little bit. It's kind of been stagnant lately, to tell you the truth. I mean, I see some of these other videos that after 2 days they have anywhere from 100 to sometimes as many as 300, almost 750,000 views, and the videos are inaccurate and they're garbage. They're just absolute garbage. I don't understand why. I don't understand why people are looking at these videos. So many people. I guess that just is a sign of the gross ignorance that exists today, where people look at these phonies as some sort of expert. Now, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I'm not claiming to know all there is to know. Nobody can know everything, and learning is a constant process. I am still learning, even after over 60 years of constant study. Nobody knows everything, and everybody makes mistakes. However, compared to these people, I'd have to say I am equivalent of Einstein compared to a first grade math student. That's how bad these other videos are. I'm sorry, I'm going to tell it like it is. So anyway, take care. If you want to have the best friend you'll ever have, go to your local shelter, adopt a dog. They are the sweetest. They are the most loyal animals you can get. I am going to get a dog. I know I keep repeating that, but I'm going to get it. I'll bring my dog onto the video so you can see the dog, and they'll make you happy. They're great. Dogs are the best natural antidepressant I've ever discovered. Believe me, they'll always put a smile on your face. Take care.